Good evening, everyone. When I created the Marvellous Women Card deck, I designed for curiosity. I wanted the user to pick up the cards and be taken on a journey with each card, spotting out those little details, those references to each woman's life. I remember as a child poring over books like Where's Wally, and while I would search for Wally, I would also go over the illustrative details of each page, feasting my eyes on everything and doing my best to commit them to memory. And I wanted the same feeling for the user. I thought tonight to demonstrate this, I will use the Janelle Monae card to explain how I design for curiosity, but also how I develop the cards in general. To begin with, I researched the subject of each card, their life and times, but my main goal is to dig deeper and find recurring motifs and symbols from that person's life. I use those motifs and symbols in the design of the cards. In the case of Janelle, she has an alter ego called Cindy Mayweather, who is an android from the 2700s. She's in love with a human, on the run from the law, and also time travels. Very dramatic and romantic. My first step is to create a basic shape of the head and neck, followed by pushing pixels around within Photoshop and using a Wacom tablet and pen. I mark out the areas for the facial features by using light and shade to indicate those areas. The second step is putting in those facial features as well as further developing the skin. Skin is not a monocolor. It has many layers both in life and in Photoshop. Skin is comprised of layers such as the epidermis, the dermis, and other features like the amount of melanin, blood vessels, freckles, etc. When I create the skin, I paint many translucent layers, building up the skin tone to mimic this, as well as achieving dimensionality. In this close-up, we see how the eye is developed. The eyeball is a ball within a hole, and that hole has a partial ridge around it. That ridge is your eyebrow ridge, and depending on your genetics and how it's developed through childhood, will dictate where shadow falls around the eye. When I develop the eye, I mark out the areas of the socket, the ridge, as well as a rough shape of the white of the eye with an iris that has no pupil. I then refine that shape and add in the pupil, plus a highlight that shows the high point of the eyeball. I also, in this case, added a neon ring around her pupil, as Janelle is an android and therefore probably would have had enhanced vision. Lastly, I add in the lashes. The next step after the face is the hair. The hair is developed in a similar manner to the face. Big chunky blocks first. Then they are colored in layer by layer to build up the shape of the braids. Janelle is often seen sporting braids, hence why I chose them. Once the subject is fully created, I go on to creating the background now. Janelle Cindy is a being at a crossroads. She isn't fixed with gender, she's an android that loves like a human, and she isn't fixed in time and in space. I wanted her to appear as if she's coming out towards the viewer, as if there was a tear through dimensions. I chose shades of purple to represent the mystery and the almost mystical, divine aspect of Cindy as she arrives from her time into ours. However, in contrast to all these high and mighty aspects of her, she also wears an unembellished tux. Janelle loves a good tux. She sees it as her uniform and likes to keep it plain and simple when she dresses up. Lastly, here she is in the final card format, and on the right were her reference pictures. Thank you for listening and coming to our launch. I hope you enjoy tonight.